Hello, everyone. Welcome. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I have something really fun and unusual to show you in today's video, and it is going to be a rather long video today. I think you're really going to love the new products that I have to show you from Spellbinders. So this whole collection is called the Sealed Collection, and I'm going to start out by showing you the Wax Seal Kit. There are a lot of supporting products that I'll also be showing you, and then we'll make up 5 cards using these products. This box contains the Wax Seal Starter Kit. Let me open this up for you. It's such a gorgeous box. On the inside of this belly band, there are further instructions on both sides. And then on the back, you can see everything that's inside this kit. But I'm going to show you how to use this. This is so much fun. If you're looking for something new to put on your cards, then look no further. Let me pull this little ribbon pull and show you what's inside this fabulous kit. Okay, so we have a silicone mat here. It's nice and wide. And this is going to protect your work surface from the hot candle that we're going to be working with. It has a cute little emblem on the side. So this here is the kettle. This is what you're going to set on top of your candle. It's a nice wood and brass kettle. So cute. It comes with a spoon. And this is what you're going to melt your wax in. And it just balances perfectly on the kettle. And has a nice heft to it and a little pouring spout. And then it comes with a seal. Now this seal you can't buy separately. It's made for just this kit, but it's really pretty. It says "for you." It has a little leaf at the side. This has a really nice weight to it as well. And then it comes with some gold wax beads. You get 100 of these in the kit. And this will last you a really long time because I use either 3 or 4 each time I want to make a seal. Now there are a lot of beautiful colors that you can purchase separately at the Spellbinders shop, but I'm going to start off with these pretty gold ones. So I'll put 4 in the spoon to begin with. However, before we get into the technique, let me show you some of the different seals that they sent me. And these are not all of the seals. They have a lot of seals at the shop, but I'll show you some of the gorgeous seals that I have here. So I have 6 different seals, and then I have a few of the wax beads that they sent me as well. I have some gorgeous red and peach and silver, and there's 100 pieces in each pack. So these will last you a really long time. So again, this one's called Peachy Pink. They also have a really beautiful pastel pink, and then here is the silver. So let me open up one of these seals. I have to get out my penknife here to cut the tape along the side. I'm thinking that these are going to be a really pretty decoration for one's craft room as well. I got to find a prominent place in my craft room for these because they're just gorgeous. So here is a close-up look at this cute little envelope and flowers coming out of it. It says hello. And then they are the same width as the seal you see on the packaging, so that's the same size. So let me show you the others. This one says Joy, a nice Christmas one. Next up is a happy birthday one with some pretty flowers. And then this one I really liked because I like little old-fashioned looking trucks. It said Merry Christmas. And then a mystic butterfly. I thought that was so pretty with the moon and the stars. Also new in the shop are some beautiful envelopes. This one is called Brushed Rose Gold. It has a beautiful metallic sheen to it. And then we have the Brushed Gold. This goes along with a Brushed Gold cardstock in the shop. Brushed Silver. And I love this one. It's Brushed Navy. And then a Brushed Black. And then there are some new brushed cardstocks. This one is really hard to pick up on camera, but it's brushed white and brushed black. The black you can see, but the white, over the camera, you can't see all the sparkle to it. Okay, next up, they also have some new dies and glimmer plates and stamps from this collection. This first one is called Sealed Botanical Sprigs. This is going to be great for Christmas cards or just general winter cards. Next up is Sealed Blooms. They have the separate flowers that you can put over the top. And then we have Sealed Flowers. And again, they have the extra flowers and centers you can put on top. This one is really cute. It's called Sealed Squiggles. I love all of the dies in this set. These will be great with the other sets to use like feelers, just to make a more full bouquet. And then we have the Sealed Twine. Now this is such a clever die. This is going to cut out paper twine for your project. So I'll give you a close-up look at that in just a minute. Next we have the faux wax seals and dies, and a stamp set called Sealed Sentiments. A lot of these will fit on these faux seals, or you can just add them to your card. You don't need to put them on a seal if you don't want to, but I really love the sentiments in this particular set. And I love that the faux wax seals come with dies, so you could cut them out. Next, if you like glimmer plates, this is a gorgeous one for you. It is called Wood Grain Background. And then next I have another glimmer plate. This one's called Geometric Flower Background. And last I have a stencil. This includes 4 stencils. It's called Layered Geometric Flower Stencil. So it's just like the glimmer plate I just showed you. Let me open this up and show you all of the different layers. So of course you don't have to use these all together. You can just use like this dot stencil. But I'm going to use all 4 of them for my last project. They're just gorgeous. And as I said before, there are more stencils and glimmer plates and dies from this release, which I will include the links for in the description box. Okay, so let's get started with the sealed wax. I purchased these candles at my local grocery store. You're going to want to get the shorter ones. They do have taller ones, but the shorter ones work best. They are not included in the kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off this wick so it's a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to light it and just let it sit for a minute so that I could get rid of some of the excess wax. So I am going to allow this to melt down just a little bit. I'll grab a handful of tissues and I can just pour out the excess onto these. Next, I'm going to put the kettle over this. And now that the wick has burned down and I trimmed it a little bit, it's not going to turn my cute brass spoon black. So I'm going to start out with 4 of the wax beads. And these melt pretty quickly. I'm going to speed this up for the sake of time. This is a really long video this time, but I'll speed it up here and you can see it melt in fast motion. I'm going to use my all-in-one tool to stir it up. However, I'm trying really hard not to scratch the bottom of my spoon, so I would find something else to stir it with. Next time I do this, I'm going to find a proper spoon to stir it so I don't scratch it. And then you're going to want to pour it right onto your silicone mat. I'm not lifting it very high up because I don't want it to cool before it's time. And then I'm going to center the seal right on top, just kind of let it plop down. And then I'm going to allow it to sit for about a minute to cool and harden up. I sped that up too, just so you know. It wasn't immediate like you see here. I waited for a good minute. And here it is all done. Isn't that cute? And if you don't like the way it turned out, you can melt it again and redo it. Since I have a bit of residual wax already in the spoon, I'm just going to put 3 wax beads in this time. And then I'll allow that to melt. And then again, I'm going to do another pour. This is so fun. Again, I'm not swirling it or lifting the spoon up too high. I'm just putting it directly on the mat, as close to the mat as I can get it. And then I'm going to use another seal. Then I'll just gently place it on top and allow it to sit for a minute. While this wax is still warm, I'm going to grab out a bunch of tissues so that I don't burn my fingers and just kind of wipe out the gold so I can change out the color. You can also mix these different waxes if you'd like as well, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple today. So let me get rid of the gold wax. It's really hot, so be very careful. I'm going to play with the red wax next. And again, since there's no wax in the spoon, I'll put 4 beads inside. And then for this wax seal, I'm going to use the cute little pickup truck with the Christmas tree in the back. And it says Merry Christmas. I'll pull this one out so it's ready to go. There are so many adorable ones to choose from. Okay, the wax is ready to go now, and my gold seal is done. Now these do not crack or crumble very easily at all. They almost feel like plastic once you're done with it. But again, you can remelt it if you'd like. So let's pour out this beautiful red. You can set your spoon on the silicone mat as well. It's not going to hurt your mat. And then I'll put this seal on top. So I'll jump a minute ahead here and show you what this seal looks like. And here it is all done. The back is really smooth as well. So I'm going to show you a close-up view now. It's kind of hard to see when the camera is directly above. So I set the camera on my mat, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like from the side. We're going to use the peachy pink bead. Sorry about the jerky camera there, I accidentally bumped it. Let's pull out 4 of the beads, put them in the spoon, and I'll just set them on the kettle to melt. Again, I'm jumping ahead here to when it's all ready to pour. And this time you get a side view, and I'm not holding the spoon up very high. I don't let it sit very long on the silicone mat, and I put the seal right on top of it. This time we'll use the Mystic Butterfly. And this little candle didn't burn off much wax at all, so I'm going to get a lot of use out of each one of these little candles as well. Okay, so I think this is done. Let me peel off the seal and then show you what this one looks like. I love that little butterfly, so pretty. Okay, so to bring out more of the design, Spellbinders has a bunch of these deco color pens. So they sent me the silver one, and it's a smaller pen than the gold one that I have. The gold one is just too big. It didn't work out at all. It just put down too much of the color. But the size of the silver one was perfect. So I'm just very gingerly brushing the pen over the pattern to bring it out. So they do also have the rose gold pen. And I'm just kind of wiping off a lot of the excess ink because I don't want it dripping on the seal. And now you can really see the picture on these little wax seals. But of course, you don't have to use these pens if you don't want to. They look just gorgeous as is. But I just wanted to show you this option because it's something I've never seen before. I've seen the wax seals before, but not with the silver pen. So isn't that beautiful? Let me brush one more stroke over the bottom of the envelope. Then I'm just going to set that aside to dry, and it dries really fast. Let's do a red one next. This is the Christmas truck seal. And I forgot to mention, you can pour the wax directly onto your project too if you'd like. But I like to pre-make them and pour them out on the silicone mat and just make sure I like the way it turned out before I attach them to a project. Okay, so this little truck is turning out so cute with the silver ink on top, or silver paint, I should say. And then the sentiment says, Merry Christmas. They also have in the shop 2 different sizes of just plain circles. And you can drop in some confetti or some gold leafing, and those look just pretty too. But But here is the truck all done. Next, I'm going to make up a couple of backgrounds to get ready to create some cards. I'm going to use the wood grain background first. I'll foil it with some brass gold, and then I'll just put the plates on top and push the timer button. Here I jumped ahead again and ran that through my Platinum 6 machine. And let's take a peek at how this turned out. I'll put the silicone mat on top here just so that I have a place to put this hot plate. It's such a heavy plate, I have to kind of help my magnet tool pick it up. It did kind of overfoil. You'll see some double lines here, but I think it's just gorgeous. I don't think I taped it down well enough. Isn't that just stunning? I am going to redo this for my project. Here is the geometric flower background, and I foiled it onto a piece of, it's called pink sand cardstock, and I used some Aura silver foil for this. It did rip on one side when I pulled off the tape, but I can cut that panel down if I'd like. So here is my second wood grain background that I'm going to use on card number 1. Behind it, I'll use some brushed gold cardstock, and I'll pair it with this Sealed Botanical Sprigs die set. So here are all the dies. I'm also going to use the twine die. So I'll cut out everything off camera and start putting them together now. I cut out the greenery with some fern cardstock as well as some rainforest cardstock, which is a lighter green. And then this piece that I'm putting together here, I cut out with some timber brown cardstock. And I'm going to attach some pink berries on top of this. This pink is new to the shop. I'm always so excited when Spellbinders comes out with new colors of cardstock. This one is called Fruit Punch. I'll show you a proper look at it here in just a minute. But I love this hot pink color. I'm just using my pickup tool to do this. The berries are so tiny. And here's a close-up look at this die cut piece. I have one more that I need to put together. I cut this die out with a piece of Dune cardstock as well as a piece of brushed gold. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, but I went with the brushed gold and the light yellow cardstock. So I'll put a little bit of glue behind this sprig and just pick up the flower like so. These are really easy to put together. The hard part is coming up with which colors you want to use. Okay, here's a look at the finished little flower sprig. Now I'm going to start putting this card together. I cut out the twine pieces with more of the brushed gold, and you'll need to cut out 2. And that is where your seal is going to go. So I'm going to glue the 2 pieces together first. Then I'm going to set this aside and start gluing down my sprigs next, but it's going to look something like that. Okay, I am going to speed up this process just for the sake of time. Again, I'll put my acrylic block there to hold my first piece down. I'm just using, of course, some liquid glue to do this. And now for my last piece. And I'm trying to get them to meet in the middle so I have a place to put my seal. I'll use more liquid glue to attach the twine. And this paper twine is so much fun. You don't have to use it with the seals, of course, either. You can use it on any project. So clever. So I'll glue that down on the front. And then what you do is you just kind of bend it over the back of your card. And then add a little bit of glue on this tab. And it just stays in place for you. Let's add glue to the other side. And just gently bend that one over as well. So now we have a place to put one of the seals, and I'm going to attach this using some foam squares. This will give it a little more dimension as well. Let's just press that into place. And then I'm going to glue this down onto the brushed gold cardstock. I'm making sure to go over the twine a little bit and the tabs here just to give it a good stick. And then we can attach this to a top folding white card base. Again, with more of the liquid glue. And of course, you can use dot liner, whatever you prefer. And then here is a close-up look at the finished card. Isn't that so much fun? Look at that cute seal. It's just something unique and fun to send out to your family and friends. I'm going to pair it with one of the new brushed gold envelopes. These beautiful envelopes are going to be fun to use to send out Christmas cards. On to card number 2, we're going to use the geometric flower background. And this is the gorgeous new Fruit Punch cardstock, that dark pink that you see there. I always love it, especially when they come out with new pinks. I'll cut out the sealed flowers die. This one is a really easy one. You just need to cut out the whole sprig in one piece and then glue the flowers on top. So I cut it out with some fern green cardstock. Then I'm going to use the Fruit Punch pink on top. I'm just making sure those are right side up so they're ready to go. And then I'll gently pull out this die cut from the negative piece. You could cut out several of these as well if you wanted to give them a little more dimension and sturdiness. But for this video, I'm just cutting out everything once and adding it with liquid glue to the fronts of my cards. I'm going to be using those beautiful silver pearls as accents in the middle of my flowers, but let me show you a few new pearls that they have in the shop. So they have this light blue topaz, a Bella pink, lilac purple. They have a rose pearl, blush, and an oyster. I love all of the new colors that they're coming out with. And pearls are so in these days, not only in cards, but in fashion. They put pearls on everything, it seems like. So these flowers match exactly the little flowers from the sprig. So I'm just trying to turn them around so that they meet up perfectly. But of course, they don't have to be glued down perfectly. It's cute to see a little bit of green peeking out. But for this one, I'm just trying to match them up. And then once that is done, I'm going to add a little more liquid adhesive to attach the silver pearls. These are self-adhesive, but I just want a little more insurance with the liquid glue. And I'm using the smallest one from this set. And I'll put a silver pearl inside each flower. I put a different tip on my all-in-one tool so that I could better stir the wax. And I'm just trying to get used to that one. I'm used to using the flat or the straight tip. For this card, I'm going to use some real ribbon. And this is just a little bit of silver twine. I wrapped it around the card twice, and now I'm going to tie a bow. The bow looks really cute behind these seals. I'll show you what this looks like in just a minute. Let me trim off the end here. And then to attach this, I'll use another foam square, and I'm just going to situate my bow how I want it. And then I can put the square foam piece down, peel off the release paper, and then add my seal. This one is the Mystic Butterfly. I'm going to trim off the ends of the bow a little bit. So for this card, I decided to pop it up with some foam strips, attach it to the Fruit Punch cardstock, and then I'll use another top folding white card base, and here is a close-up look. This one is one of my favorites from the set I'm creating today, just because of all of the gorgeous pink and silver. And look how gorgeous it pairs up with a brushed silver envelope. On card number 3, I used the Geometric Flower Glimmer plate. on a piece of the Island Blue cardstock. This is a new blue as well. There's the negative piece where I used the Arch Glimmer plate to create that. That's the negative piece. And then for this card, we'll use the Sealed Blooms dies. And these just kind of arch so beautifully. I cut them out with some Dune cardstock. I wanted it to be a little less showy. The background really steals the show anyway, and I didn't want my florals to compete with that. I cut out some orange cardstock for the flowers. Let me just place my last sprig down. And then I can just flip it over and cut off the overhang. The orange cardstock I used to cut out the flowers is called Persimmon. And all of their cardstocks are a really nice heavyweight cardstock. I believe it's 100-pound cardstock. Now I can just start gluing down the flowers over this beautiful Dune cardstock. And again, these are going to fit perfectly over the die cuts. I really love using the complementary colors of orange and blue together. It's so stunning. Also, I forgot to mention that I did use some blue foil on this background. I just love the tone on tone. For the centers of these flowers, I'm going to use the Fashion Blush pearls. They just go perfectly with these orange flowers. And I'll use a few different sizes for these as well. And again, these are adhesive back sticker pearls. And they come in several different sizes. And once I have all of my pearls in place, I'm going to work on the sentiment. So the sentiment comes from the Sealed Sentiments pack. The one I chose says, "Be well, my friend." I stamped it onto some Dune cardstock, and I'm pouring over some orange embossing powder. Then I can melt this, and I'm going to cut this out into a little banner. I decided to pop up this panel with some more of the foam strips and center it on my indigo blue cardstock. And then the little banner is just going to go up at the top right corner. I popped this up as well so it would be the same height as my arch. And I'll just trim off the excess. So all of my cards are A2 sized, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4, but these would look really great on some mini slimline cards as well. And here's a close-up look at card number 3. I'm trying to turn it so that you can see the beautiful blue foil shimmering on the light blue cardstock. And now on to card number 4. I used the same wood grain background on some of the Fruit Punch cardstock, and I used some hot pink foil on that. I'll back this with some brushed silver cardstock. But let's play with this faux wax seal stamp and die set. So if you're not interested in doing the wax seals, this is a good alternative, a fun alternative. I'm going to stamp out one of the little stamps. This one says, "Congrats." And I stamped it onto a piece of, let's see, it's pink sand cardstock. And I'll cut that out with the coordinating die. I also cut out the wax, the faux wax seal. I also went ahead and cut out the other 2 pieces of the faux wax seal, and I'm going to add the highlight here with some Prom Queen ink from Simon Hurley. I'm so into the Simon Hurley inks lately. They're just gorgeous. But that adds a cute little highlight onto it. I'll glue 2 of these together to give it a little more height. And then I can glue it onto the background. And then my circle sentiment will go down next. I'll just add more glue behind this and press it inside. This is only 1 layer where the outside of the seal is 2 layers. So I need to just kind of press it inside. Here's a close-up look at that. Isn't that pretty? For this set, I'm going to use the sealed squiggle dies. This rose die is going to be the star of the show, but I went ahead and cut them out off camera. I'm using more of the Prom Queen ink on a piece of white cardstock. I want to cut the twine out with this. and I wasn't getting a lot of ink on this cardstock. What I should have done is cut it out first and then add the ink. So I'm just kind of scraping some ink on this piece of cardstock. And then I cut them out, and now I'm using a little more ink to fill in the gaps. And this is what I should have done. It would have saved a lot of ink. I'll glue these two pieces of twine together and set this aside while I build up my little bouquet. Aren't these squiggles just adorable? I'm just gluing them down flat. Then I cut out 2 leaves. And then the squiggle I cut out with some brushed silver cardstock. The leaves I cut out with the green fern, which is a nice dark green. I'll glue this one down a little bit lower than the other leaf. And again, I'm trying to make them meet at one point so I can put the seal over it. And then here is this pretty rose, a squiggle rose. I'll glue that down in the middle. Next, I'm going to inlay some of the brushed silver cardstock. So I cut it out with the brushed silver. I'll press this piece on top, and then I'll use my all-in-one tool just to press the inner pieces down. And then I can gently peel off the outline. One of the pieces did come off, but I'll just kind of pop that back in place. And that just helps to bring out the flower a little bit more. Now for the pink faux twine, I'll glue this down. And again, I'm just going to wrap it around the card. I guess you could cut it off if you'd like, but I find it just easier to wrap it around. It looks more authentic that way if you wrap it. And it's a lot easier, I find. Otherwise, you have to kind of glue the ends to the sides of your card. And now for our faux seal. You could pop it up again with foam if you'd like, but I'm just going to glue it down flat this time. I used more foam strips behind this panel. And now I can attach it to the brushed silver cardstock. The brushed silver cardstock is really nice because if I put this down and it's crooked, I can easily peel it up again and retry because the brushed silver has kind of a coating to it. I'll attach this to my card base. And last, I'm going to add some more of the new pearls around this panel. I couldn't decide which ones to use. There's 2 beautiful pinks that I'm choosing from. But I go with the lighter pink. And I'm going to attach several around this little bouquet. And again, for the background, I think the tone on tone with the pink foil and the pink cardstock just look lovely. And here is a close-up look at the finished card. This is another very pink card. And I understand that Barbie pink is really big these days. It's a new fashion trend going on, which I love. My winter coat is kind of a soft pink, but I bought that well before the Barbie pink trend came on. So it's going to work out for me this winter. Okay, last card, card number 5. I'm going to pull out the stencil. Again, this stencil is called Layered Geometric Flower Stencils, and it coordinates with the geometric flower background. I'm using some more gorgeous Simon Hurley inks to do this. This is Game Over is the dark red. And then for the next stencil, I'm going to use kind of a lighter red. It looks kind of pinky red to me. It's called Love Struck. These 2 stencils make up the flowers, and I wanted them to be similar in color so that they really do look like flowers. I'm putting down a thick coating of the ink, and here it is almost all done. This is a really fun process too. I love stencils, and they're really big on the card scene lately. Okay, let's peel this up and take a peek. And this is just a piece of 80-pound white cardstock that I used. Okay, isn't that gorgeous? That would make a beautiful Christmas card. I'm using some cookie dough ink for the negative spaces in between the florals. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use a blue ink, which would look really gorgeous, but I settled on this kind of light beigey brown ink instead. And now let's see what this looks like. If I can peel up this tape. Here we go. Pretty. I love the cookie dough ink. And for the last layer, I'm going to use some lunar paste. This one is called Slippery When Wet. And it's going to make gorgeous centers to these flowers. I'm just using the little palette knife to press the lunar paste into each circle. I was a little worried that I was going to get some underneath the stencil, but it worked out just perfectly. I understand that there are a couple of new lunar pastes that have just been released, and they are silver and gold. This Slippery When Wet looks gold, but when you compare it to the new gold one that has been released, this looks more yellow. So the new one's more of a true gold. I already ordered those, and I can't wait to get those in. Once this is completely covered, I'm going to scrape up the excess and just scrape it back into the little bottle. And then I do immediately clean off my palette knife as well as my stencil. Here it is, all done. I'm going to set this aside to dry. It doesn't take that long. I let it set for about an hour. And here it is, cut down and all ready to go. So this is definitely the star of the show. So I'm going to put some really subtle die cuts on top of this. I'm back to the sealed botanical sprigs again. And I cut them out with more of the fern cardstock. I'm adding white berries to this particular one this time. I don't want these to compete with the gorgeous background. I already cut out the twine with some brushed gold. It will match really well with the flower centers. And all of these are going down flat. And I'm just going to layer them at the side of the card. I have to put several of these down because they look kind of lost in this busy background. So I am going to build these up a bit. I'll put one more sprig kind of up at the top. And then my berries are going to go right in the center of all of these. And now for the twine. I didn't pre-glue these together this time, but either way works. The brushed cardstocks do take a little more time to dry, just because of that coating that they have on them. But once they're dry, then I can add glue to the back and just fold them around the card. And now for the other side, I'll just add a little bit of glue to the tab and wrap it around. The seal I'm going to use says Joy, and I'm just going to place that down with a foam square. And I just brushed a little bit of gold on top of that. And here is a close-up look at the finished card. So that's it for my 5 cards today. I had such a ball playing with all of these beautiful products. And if any of these caught your eye, check out my links in the description box below. When you use those links, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it sure does help out my channel, so I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this close-up look at the new sealed release from Spellbinders. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all have a fun, crafty day. Bye.